Drama The Tempest Part 1. The people in the story: Prospero, the true Duke of Milan; Antonio, his brother, who is the wrongful Duke; the King of Naples; Ferdinand, his son; Miranda, daughter of Prospero; Earl, a spirit serving Prospero; Caliban, a monster. The Tempest, the island of spirits. There was a certain island in the sea, on which there lived only an old man whose name was Prospero, and his daughter Miranda, a very beautiful young lady. They lived in a cave made out of rock. It was divided into several parts, one of which Prospero called his study. There he kept his books, which he chiefly did with magic, and the knowledge of this art he found very useful to him. For being thrown by a strange chance upon the island, which had been put under a charm by a witch called Syrinx, Prospero, by the power of his art, set free many good spirits that Syrinx had shut up in the bodies of large trees, because they had refused to do her wicked commands. These gentle spirits were ever after obedient to the will of Prospero. Of this Earl was the chef. The lovely little spirit Earl had no evil in his nature, except that he took rather too much pleasure in troubling an ugly monster called Caliban, whom he hated because he was the son of his old enemy Sycorax. Prospero had found this Caliban in the woods, a strange twisted thing far less like a man than a large monkey. He took him home to his cave and taught him to speak, and Prospero would have been very kind to him. But the bad nature which Caliban had from his mother Sycorax wouldn't let him learn anything good or useful. Therefore he was employed like a slave to fetch food and do the most laborious tasks, and the Earl had the duty of forcing him to these services. When Caliban was lazy and did not do his work, Earl, who could be seen by no eyes but Prospero's, would come quietly up and take hold of him painfully, and sometimes throw him down in the mud, and then Earl, in the likeness of monkey, would make mouth at him. Then quickly changing his shape in the likeness of head dog, he would lie running in Caliban's way, who feared the hedgehog's sharp points would break his bare feet. With many such cruel tricks, Earl would often trouble him whenever Caliban failed to do the work which Prospero commanded him to do. The Tempest. Having these powerful spirits obedient to his will, Prospero could by their means command the winds and the waves of the sea. By his orders they raised a great storm, in the middle of which he showed his daughter a large ship, struggling with the wild waves that every moment seemed about to swallow it up. The ship, he told her, was full of living beings like themselves. "Oh, my dear father," said she, "if by your art you have raised the dreadful storm, have pity on their sad trouble. See, the ship will be broken to pieces. Poor souls, they will all be drowned. If I had power, I would sink the sea beneath the earth, rather than that the good ship should be destroyed with all the precious souls within her." "Be not so troubled, daughter Miranda," said Prospero. "There is no harm done. I have so ordered it that no person in the ship shall receive any hurt. What I have done has been in care of my dear child. You do not know who you are, or where you came from. And you know no more of me, but that I am your father, and live in this poor cave. Can you remember a time before you came here? I think you cannot, for you were not then 3 years of age. Certainly I can, sir, replied Miranda. By what? Asked Prospero. By any other house or person. Tell me what you can remember, my child. Miranda said, it seems to me like the memory of a dream. But had I not once 4 or 5 women who served me? Prospero answered, you had and more. How is it that this still lives in your mind? Do you remember how you came here? No, sir, said Miranda, I remember nothing more. Awake brother. 12 years ago, Miranda continued Prospero, I was Duke of Milan, and you were a princess and my only child. I had a younger brother whose name was Antonio, to whom I trusted everything. And as I was fond of quiet and deep study, I commonly left the management of my state affairs to your uncle, my false brother, for so indeed he proved. I, careless of all worldly ends, buried among my books, gave my whole time to the bettering of my mind. My brother Antonio, being thus in possession of my power, began to think himself the duke indeed. The opportunity I gave him of making himself popular among my subjects awakened in his bad nature a proud ambition to rob me, subject, of my dukedom. This he soon did with the help of the king of Naples, a powerful prince who was my enemy. Why did they not that hour destroy us? Asked Miranda. My child, answered her father, they dared not, so dear was the love that my people bore me. Antonio carried us on board a ship, and when we were some miles out at sea, he forced us into a small boat, without either sails or ropes. There he left us, as he thought, to die. But a kind lord of my court, one Gonzalo, who loved me, had privately placed in the boat water, food, clothing, and some books which I value above my dukedom. Oh, my father, said Miranda, what a trouble must I have been to you then. No, my love, said Prospero, you were a little angel that preserved me. Your smiles made me bear my misfortunes bravely. Our food lasted until we landed on this desert island, and since then my chief delight has been in teaching you, Miranda, and from these lessons you have gained much. Heaven thank you, my dear father, said Miranda. Now tell me, sir, your reason for raising this storm. I will, said her father. By means of this storm, my enemy, the king of Naples, and my cruel brother are driven onto this island. Having so said, Prospero gently touched his daughter with his magic stick, and she fell fast asleep. For the spirit Ariel just then appeared before his master, to give an account of the Tempest and of what he had done with the ship's company. And though the spirits could never be seen by Miranda, Prospero did not wish her to hear him speaking, as would seem to her with the empty air. Now we have finished reading part 1 from The Tempest. See you next time, and goodbye.